react to the Jubilee videos now? This guy's a droid.
Yeah, this guy's fucking delusional.
Yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and kick him.
All right. I was gonna click live like right now. I think I can do it while on live.
Yeah. Hey, while you're clicking live for the 8,000 people in here, I'd just like to reiterate, I will not be live for the next 3 days. So I will not be live Friday. I will not be live Saturday. I will not be live Sunday. But then I will be live again on Monday later. Megan, thank you for the $5 on PayPal. And the reason that I will not be live for the next 3 days is because I will be going to Ann Arbor, Michigan to talk to voters, boots on the ground, with a group of other influencers. I don't think I know any of them, to get people to go out there and vote. So, yeah, I'm going to be boots on the ground in Ann Arbor, Michigan, getting people to get out there and vote. So, yeah, out there, Ann Arbor, Michigan. If you happen to be in the area, I'm sure that, like,
Dude, you're careful. Cooked. You're cooked. You're literally gonna.
No, I'll be safe. I'll be safe because of who it's with.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be safe. It's like a setup thing, guys. So I'll be safe. But yeah, feel free to show up feel free to show up at these events. Because I'm
kind of sick. They needed to have us do that together. Oh fuck.
I know.
Here I'm clicking. Should I do chat and interview?
Yeah. Wait. Make sure you do it. So it's on the mode where you can add guests.
Yeah, I know. I did. I made sure to do that last time because of what happened.
Oh. So yeah, I'll be in Ann Arbor. That'll be a lot of fun. We're going to be doing that for 3 days. I will not be going live. I'm going to be boots on the ground. But we will be doing some fun things out there.
Okay.
We are going
go live.
We're going to be doing a handful of things. I'll be making some content. It'll be a whole lot of fun. But yeah, that's where I'm going to be. So if you happen to be in the area, feel free to pull up. I'll probably be posting a lot about it on my Instagram and my Twitter. I won't be as active on TikTok for the streams for the next 3 days. But y'all, everyone, we are actually now going to go ahead and head over to our friend Matt's account because it has access where we could go live from a computer. And we're actually going to be reacting to Jubilee's new video.
People are joining in. So what's good, everyone joining in the live right now? How y'all doing today? Give it a few minutes for people to join in. What's up, everyone joining in the live right now?
Let's get everyone to rate it. So it's rockin.librarian, right?
Yep, rockin.librarian, everyone.
Would everyone spam at rockin.librarian in the chat right now?
Is that the view count or is that new followers? Oh, that is the view count. Okay. We're about 200 people right now. Everyone keep joining in. Keep joining in.
Everyone spam at rockin.librarian, y'all.
Everyone join rockin.librarian. Do y'all see how good the camera quality is, everyone? Does the camera quality look pretty insane? And I also already ate my 7 hand rolls, so based. So
that's where to go, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you all over there. We're honestly going to end the stream now, but everyone just come out and hang out with us.
Yep, join in right now. Join in right now. All the people joining in, how y'all doing? How does the live look, everyone? Thank you for the hat mustache. Thank you so much.
So I'm going to go ahead and
quality? Good. You're going to join?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and join. I'm going to go ahead and end this live. All 7,000 of you guys head over to @rockin.librarian.
All right.
Wait, I'm actually going to do this before we end. I'm just going to pin this for like 30 seconds and then we're going to end. Everyone head over there now. Just leave the stream. Just leave it. Just leave the stream, head over. It's on TikTok, you guys. It's on TikTok. Everyone run over there. Everyone run over there. Where we going? The @ that is pinned. What platform? On TikTok. It is another TikTok account. You actually can stream to TikTok from your computer. It's awesome. But yeah, I'll be inactive for the next couple days on the streams. We're going to do boots on the ground. It's my first time ever actually getting out there in person, boots on the ground, getting people to vote. So I'm really excited, though. You know, I'm willing to take the hit to the streams for a couple days so I could get in there in person. You know, I feel like I need to put that sweat in. It's a rite of passage. And I'm really excited for it. All right, see you guys there at rockin.librarian.
Probably be pretty interesting. But yeah, do tap that screen, do share the live. Everyone will help get out to more people. We're doing this on the camera, so I mean, or not on the camera, on the computer, so it might be a little bit better. All right, there he is. We're accepting him. Oh, what's up, buddy?
All right.
Is everything look good?
Hello.
Does everything
everything look... might help if you back away from the camera a little bit, and then also drag the video down. Just allow there to be some black space on top.
Okay.
Like a little bit more. Oh. And then make the video a little bit smaller.
Make the video smaller?
Yeah, just a little bit.
You mean like that?
Well, it cuts off on the phones. So just a little bit smaller.
Oh, okay. I got you.
There you go. Then pull the video down, just so like there you go. Maybe like a little bit more. Chat, what are we thinking?
What does it look like? What does it look like, chat?
A little bit more, just like literally like a half an inch.
Okay.
Phenomenal. And then zoom out just a little bit more.
Zoom out a little bit more? Okay.
Yeah.
Like that?
And then pull it back down. And then pull it back down. So then like the bottom of the video lines up with the top of you.
Like there?
There we go. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
What's up, everyone in here? Tap that screen, share the live. We're going to be reacting to the parts in which Dean are in. Should we just skip to the guy and you?
Dude, I'm down. All
right, let's watch you. I don't even remember the debate. Oh, gosh.
Honestly, I rewatched it. I think it did all right. We'll see.
Group with whom you have solidarity. So that actually cuts against generalized
But that's like a fundamental
policy.
thing that just exists, which is why we need representation in government. Okay, cute. Thank you.
There's Guy.
Well, you got it this time. All right, nice. Good to see you. How are you doing?
Me. That was
Doing
me.
all right. How are you, Ben?
You know, it's been a day.
Yeah, it's a little bit of like an interesting setting being surrounded by
Can we go back and watch what I just did there? What was I
Fundamentally
doing?
understand.
Oh, they told you to run because remember it was all staged?
No. Look how I did this.
Well, he got it this time. All right, nice. Good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you, Ben?
You know, it's been a day.
Yeah, it's a little bit of like an interesting setting being surrounded by 20 people that disagree with you.
I mean, the truth is I grew up in LA and then I went to law school in Cambridge. So,
So
I'm
you're
a
a lot
little
more
used to
than
it.
20.
Yeah, I've been here before.
Anyways, let's talk about DEI. Do you think that Trump should have won 2016? I'll wrap it in. It's conceptually relevant. I'll demonstrate the relevance.
Okay, sounds good. By what measure? Do I think he did win or do I think he should have won?
Do you think he should have won?
I mean, yes, I'm happy that he won. If the question is, am I happy that he won? I'm happy that he won.
Okay. Well, I'd say that Trump won 2016 because
By the way, I did not vote for either candidate in 2016. That's a decision made in retrospect.
Awesome. So I think that Trump won 2016 because of a modality of DEI. Essentially, what I'd say is the Electoral College, right, strives for inclusion of smaller states with lower populations by overrepresenting them in the overall vote.
Crazy, bro.
Like, you could correct me if I'm wrong, or the SAN fact checkers can. I'm pretty
Wait,
sure
pause it real
that
quick, pause it real
over the
quick.
last
Yeah.
25.
Christian! Oh my god, I had to literally pause it all and shut it all down for just a couple seconds to thank Christian for the $200 donation on PayPal.
That's so
He
crazy.
says, from Norway, sad you won't be live, but wishing you good luck on your adventures. Thank you so very much, Christian. While we're watching this out, I want to see nothing but W Christians down below. That is so incredibly kind of you, man. Thank you so much. W fucking Christians, for real, for real. Thank you so much. Feel free to play it.
5 to 30 years, Republicans have won the presidency given the Electoral College, not given the overall popular vote. So if you're against DEI, if you don't want inclusion on the basis of race, inclusion on the basis of gender, or even what you're saying earlier, we could even say inclusion on the basis of class, why do you want inclusion on the basis of population, rural areas, states,
We should actually use a better
in the
example when I
Electoral
just asked if I believe in the U.S. Senate.
What did you just say? How'd you say rural?
Rule.
What?
Rule.
Dude, what? Say that again?
Rule.
Rural.
areas.
Rural.
Rural.
What the fuck are you saying, dude?
Rule.
Dude.
Rule.
Bro, we're cooked. Dude,
Rural
if
areas.
the entire comment section is not spamming that.
Rule.
Rule? Rule?
No, it's rule. Rule.
No.
Yes, rule.
No.
Yes.
What do you mean, yes?
Rule. There's two syllables there. Rule. Ul.
It's rural.
Rural.
Oh my gosh.
Rural.
Rural.
Rule L.
Oh God.
Right,
the U.S. Senate, this would also apply to the U.S. Senate.
Right, okay, so let's use the U.S. Senate because the U.S. Senate is actually even more unrepresentative of the general population than the Electoral College, which is at least a rough approximation.
It'd just be funnier to hear you say that you shouldn't have voted for Trump in 2016, but we could talk about the Senate as well.
That's a different subject, but I'm very happy that he won, even though I didn't vote for him. I mean, we can talk about Trump later.
Yeah.
We've already done a bit. Well, I'm sure we'll do more. As far as the idea that every elected body has to be elected based on population as opposed to based on the area of geographic distribution or the states that actually pre-existed the federal government. Okay, the way that the Constitution of the United States was created was as a contract between sovereign states, which is one of the reasons why, for example, you have a United States Senate as opposed to just a House of Representatives. So is that a form of DEI? That seems like a stretch.
Yeah, so no, when he says that this is a stretch, he's kind of not arguing against it. All he described is that this is a process that exists within government. That's all he said there, right? He didn't actually describe how it wasn't DEI. He didn't describe how it didn't meet describe how it wasn't DEI. He didn't describe how it didn't meet the criteria. All he said there was that this is an aspect of our federal government, right? In terms of how we recognize sovereignty of states, which is exactly what Charlie Kirk did. And it's a complete obfuscation from like the general point that you're trying to make that it's predicated off of DEI.
To me, the kind of DEI that I'm
also,
talking
Michelle,
about
thank you for the $20 on PayPal. W. Michelle, thank you for the $20. Thank you, Michelle.
Based on inherent characteristics, like, for example, race, as opposed to suggesting that the United States Senate, which is obviously unrepresentative of the general population,
well, seemingly my point is
somehow bad. That's a check and balance, right?
Well, seemingly my point is that this is another modality of DEI. I've like no problem with you explaining to me, right, why the Senate or the Electoral College would be given the U.S. Constitution and like some contractual agreement that they had between the sovereign states. That's fine. But what I'd say is that your claim here would just imply that the Constitution upholds DEI within our electoral processes.
If your claim is,
so do you think that the Constitution upholds DEI in the sense of including smaller states with less representative populations?
That is a true stretch of the meaning of DEI. But I get your point. I mean, if the idea is that the only thing that is not pure DEI in a democratic context would be sort of popularly represented votes, then I think you can make the case that basically you should get rid of every representative institution. We should go to a pure democracy because.
Well, I'm not making a case for what we should replace it with. I'm making the case that it would uphold DEI. We could talk about, right, what other systems should function in the case of the Electoral College or in the case of the Senate, but that's a completely different conversation than are these systems upholding DEI.
So again, I think that you're definitionally stretching DEI. If DEI is the basic idea that all disparities equal discrimination and must be rectified by government interventionism, which is sort of the definition, then stretching that to mean the Electoral College seems like you're going pretty far afield to defend a very broad concept as specifically badly applied.
Wait, 1 second. I don't think that we need to say that DEI is equivalent to disparities equal discrimination. We could just see that DEI is like a qualm for disparities in general, right? And what we apply here in this certain modality when we're talking about the Electoral College, when we're talking about the Senate, is we're trying to qualm the disparities of the lack of population in rural areas. We're trying to qualm the disparities of smaller states compared to larger states. And seemingly, you haven't really given me a response to this apart from calling it a stretch, but I do appreciate you for
No, I mean, it seems to me like the argument that you're making is that in order for there to be calm and sort of conciliation inside the United States, particular racial groups have to be given particular benefits. Okay, well, because that was the argument with regard to the states in the United States, right? When the Constitution was formed, the way that you came to an actual agreement in the Constitutional Convention is states were not going to sign on unless they got particular guarantees of the interests of those particular states, right? So if
people are freaking out about me being too close, like this is literally the furthest it goes, everyone.
That's why you need the 50mm lens so you could like push yourself further back.
I'll just try to move myself this way.
Wait, bro, you have like a green screen on.
People are making a video.
You could like just downsize your camera a little bit.
I'll try to do that.
Like on the actual live studio. By the way, guys, I also had a debate with him about abortion, but his team didn't clear it to go in the video, so it didn't get posted.
Was it that the team didn't clear it? Is that really the explanation?
I mean, I asked for the clip, and they were like, "Well, we didn't send that to Ben's team to get approved." So.
What? Why would it just be your clip that he didn't? That was not a. That's so weird.
There's no way. I feel like I feel like the
I just feel like it's conspiratorial almost to like say that like that we were.
Yeah, there's no way that Jubilee would let Ben's team like manage what they can and can't post.
I know, right?
Maybe
like I don't know, but it's really weird that they did that with us.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially that they posted me on the second account. I don't know.
There you go. That's much better. It's a good distance. Good centering.
If you're claiming that that's DEI, then the response that I would have is right, because that's how you have to come to an agreement. So if you're going to make the parallel argument with regard to DEI in, for example, the racial context, you then have to make the case that the only way that you can have conciliation in the United States is for particular racial groups to be given specific racial benefits, and otherwise the country is going to split apart, which is an argument with which I generally disagree, even if I agreed with the way the Constitution was formed.
So now he's arguing that the DEI that exists within the Constitution is necessary, but the DEI that exists within the public policy is not necessary. That's the argument he's making. Which we would just argue you can get rid of the Electoral College.
So, I mean, I don't see like your parallel here, right? I think that DEI could exist in multiple modalities. My argument in a nutshell is nothing more than the fact that we see disparities existing in rural areas compared to metropolitan areas. We see disparities existing in the size of a state and its overall population, and you're calming these, and you're
right, but the DEI,
losing
the DEI response to that would not be
like through like an over representation.
And the DEI
and I understand that your argument is, but all my single-handed point here is that you would say, in some sense, that this is a reconciliation to introduce more, inclusion in the sense of a state to state in their population. I mean, so if you'd make the concession that this is DEI, would you say in the same sense that we shouldn't have?
I don't make the concession that falls within the definition of DEI that I've used. And if your claim is that I'm now in favor of, for example, subsidies to rural areas at the expense of urban areas, I'm not actually.
So do you think that DEI would only apply in the context of race?
No, it could apply in the context of class. It could apply.
Okay, if it could apply in the context of race, class, and identity, why can't it apply in the context of a state's population and their representation in our government?
I mean, if they were to receive special bennies at the expense of other members of the population,
they are. Yes, like Alabama or Arkansas are literally receiving special benefits insofar as a greater level of representation in our Senate and in our electoral processes compared to people in California. I mean, for instance, that's my buddy Parker over there. He lives in California, right? And
I'm fully aware how the Electoral College and the Senate work, dude.
So I literally have more representation person for person in the sense of Parker's vote compared to my vote, because individualistically speaking, I'm from a state that has more representation, and the same thing could be said for multiple other states across America, especially in the Senate. There's 2 senators that represent me and everyone else in Colorado, and there's 2 senators that represent him and the millions more people.
How are you getting from point
A,
which is that California has 2 senators and Colorado has 2 senators, to point B, which is that we should have incredible racial carve-outs on the basis of group identity at the behest of the federal government? That is a very, very large stretch. And to get from point A to point B on the basis of the constitutional structure seems like you're going pretty far afield. I appreciate what you're trying to do, but the rubber band only goes so far.
That's the end of this claim.
That's great.
I appreciate it, man. Hopefully we can talk more.
I hear what you're saying.
I said you cooked them.
So, in immediate reflection, I just think that he did the weave. He did the Trump fucking weave.
Should we watch Guy next?
Yes.
Your child.
Also, yeah. In the meantime, how do you guys think I did, chat? Out of 10. Out of 10, how did I do?
Yeah, what are your thoughts, chat?
10? Oh, I love you guys. Phenomenal. You guys really should have seen my debate with him on abortion. I'm really sad that they cut it out.
I'm sad they cut that out too.
Because I cooked him. I literally fucking cooked Ben Shapiro on abortion, and they fucking cut it out.
You know what? You didn't get cooked. They have a liberal bias, so they cut it out because you got cooked, buddy.
Oh, so real, huh? I actually do think that their editors have a slight right-leaning bias.
Oh, they absolutely do.
Good to meet you.
Kamala Harris and supported by Mitch McConnell. Do you not support that? bill? And
I do not support that bill.
So what is your solution then?
I mean, my solution is that this actually ought not be done in a comprehensive fashion. So I have a general critique of the way that we deal with immigration in the country. Instead of trying to solve all problems at once, which is very likely to end in nothing, what we ought to first do is we ought to close the border. And
But the border is closed right now. Do you agree?
The border is certainly not closed right now.
What do you mean? There's a small trickle of people coming over. The numbers are similar to the end of the Trump administration, no?
Well, now because of executive order, they have been reduced significantly, but...
Why do they do this? Their fact check is so stupid. Dude, what are they doing? They literally, his claim was that right now, border crossings are at a similar rate to what they were at the end of Trump's administration. And they literally did a fact check saying, right, the last 4 months of Trump's administration, there were on average 2,400 crossings. And since July, the Biden administration has averaged 3,400 daily crossings or illegal crossings. They're not referencing, right, the specifically, right, since the border bill. Right? What's recently what his claim is.
Not agree that the same number as the end of the Trump administration.
Right now,
yes,
it is on a monthly basis.
Because it's lower than 3,400.
That's after letting in 6.5 million illegal immigrants.
So do you think Trump was failing then at the end of his administration?
I think that Donald Trump did a better job than Joe Biden. He certainly did not do a perfect job on illegal immigration.
So Joe Biden is matching what Donald Trump is doing right now. So
after
you applaud Joe Biden?
Oh, by the way, chat. Real question.
6.5 to 11 million illegal immigrants.
Well,
I don't think you get to fill in that gap by doing like 4 months of good border policy.
Those are border.
They said that it brings the total to 10 million, by the way. Does this guy, how old does this guy look? Chat. How old does this guy look?
Great question.
Dude, I thought he was in his 20s. Push that mustache. Thank you so much. He's 44, chat.
Encounters. We don't know how many of those people were turned away. We don't know how many of those people are still in this country. But those people make up a significant portion of our labor force as well, including in states like yours, Florida, where they make up like 5%.
So your argument is that it's not happening and it's good that it is.
It's not happening? What do you mean?
That the illegal immigration pool is not very large, and also it's good that it is large.
I'm saying you guys make up numbers all the time. It's like
that
20, 30 million.
That's from the Wall Street Journal. I'm not making up that number.
Well, Donald Trump said he wants to deport 20 million of these guys. What do you think of that?
I mean, I think that if we were going to look at deportations, we obviously ought to tranche that out based on criminal record. We ought to tranche it out based on usefulness to the economy. I think we ought to look at each person individually and determine whether they ought to be deported or not.
So that is probably going to lead to a small trickle of people being kicked out of here. So that's not going to accomplish your goal.
Well, I mean, who said that my goal was to mass deport 20 million people all at once?
So you want 20 million undocumented immigrants to stay in America?
No, no, that is not what I'm saying. I failed to see how you got from, I would like to go through one by one in the same way that we do IRS tax forms for literally every American who pays taxes in the United States and go through illegal immigrants and determine who ought to stay in the country and who not ought to stay in the country.
So what army is going to go over these 20 million people and with what resources? Where are you going to detain them? How are you going to get them out of the country?
I mean, you'll detain them and you'll deport them, increasing the resources of ICE. The biggest problem with regard
ICE, similar to the bill that was rejected by you and...
Well, I mean, you're neglecting the part of the bill that allowed a baseline of 5,000 illegal immigrant border encounters before the executive branch automatically kicked in border enforcement.
So
I've been down
don't
to the
you
border,
agree?
okay? I went down to the border and let me tell you what I saw at the border and then we can go.
By the way, it's 2,500 daily average for a week, right? 5,000 for one day that allows them to shut down the border.
And for those that are curious, this guy's name is Guy. He is on Twitter. Let me see.
Desta, thank you so much for the $4. Thank you so much. Boys Cry, thank you so much for the $1. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Michelle, thank you so much for the $20 for keeping this a Canadian entertained in U.S. politics talk. Not going to lie, love watching the Trumpers get absolutely annihilated. Thank you so much, Michelle. I appreciate it. Alexa, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you so much for sorry requested to join while I was doing dishes while watching the water. Oh, don't worry.
Anyway, he's on Twitter at I'm really important. He's great. He's great. We're gonna continue to watch. He gave us all a master class in like immigration debate. It's phenomenal.
Oh, you want to hear something funny real quick? I'll kick him in a second, but let's just hear this.
RC, RC's really lost the plot. He's really gone off the rails. Do you remember when like RC got back on the rails for a little bit? And it was
and then it just stopped. Yeah.
Like he started a redemption arc where he was like treating people with kindness a little bit more than he had in his past.
He was like, I'm on my Jesus arc, and now he's not. And now he's
now he's just fucked again. So,
dude, wait, where did I put the? Oh, there it is. 1 second.
Oh, yo.
By the way, I got Dean, I got a new iPad. I gotta set it up. I got an iPad Pro.
Oh, fire.
You wanna see?
Yeah. Yo, by the way, Harry did a debate with Emily Wilson, it looks like.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Steiny just posted it.
That's kind of funny.
Wait, it's actually not Emily Wilson. It's another Trump supporter.
I got a black iPad, everyone. Just to test if it works. If it doesn't work, I'm going to take it back. So that's what I'm going to be setting up right after this live. All right, let's keep it going.
So,
saw with your own eyes.
But not just saw with my own eyes, talked to the Border Patrol agents. Okay, the way that the Biden administration was treating the border for the vast majority of their term was to treat a claim of asylum without evidence as evidence that the person ought to be given asylum. So the first priority was for Border Patrol to be activated to go to places where Mexican drug cartels were leaving people at the border en masse, and then to process those people and let them into the country within 72 hours. The goal of this for the Mexican drug cartels was to clear large swaths of the border of Border Patrol agents specifically, so that in those unoccupied areas, fentanyl and drugs could then be passed, human trafficking can then be passed in those unoccupied areas.
So you mentioned these cartels. You agree these cartels are profiting off human trafficking, right?
Of course.
So why don't we open up legal means for these people to come in here? Then they don't have to give the cartels money. They're making more money off human trafficking right now because of our immigration system doesn't allow more people. And the Republicans do not have a bill to allow more people to come here legally.
I mean, so your answer to illegal immigration is just magically legalize everyone.
No, it's to open up legal paths so these people don't have to leave their livelihood in these countries and carry a bag and walk through the jungle with their kids.
By the logic that you're using, we could make murder absolutely not a thing by simply pretending that murder is now legal.
What?
That made no sense.
Your suggestion is that millions of illegal immigrants ought to just become legal immigrants, and then magically this would solve the entire problem.
We have failed these people. We have benefited tremendously off exploiting these people. You and I, we have benefited from these people working hard. They just want to be here and be a part of our country. I can't think of anything more American than that.
I'm not doubting the willingness of people to come to the country. I am doubting the incentive structure that draws people to the country with rich array of benefits that didn't exist.
What is that incentive structure?
That incentive.
One thing that I wanted to bring up that this guy didn't touch on is that there's two things that he says here. He says border policies will make it unsafe and it will bankrupt the nation. Actually, immigration, all right, through immigration, immigrants have a higher labor force participation.
Yeah.
Than what a typical natural-born U.S. citizen would in the United States, because they're more likely to work, right? Which actually means that it is the case that they'd be paying into these systems, right, to keep Social Security, Medicare, things like that from hitting insolvency. So if he wants to do things like getting rid of tax on Social Security, get rid of tax on all those types of things, well, in order to be able to do that, immigration is going to be very important within that process. Secondly, the Congressional Budget Office indicated $7 trillion GDP increase mainly due to immigration, 5.5 new million people added to the labor force by 2034, and $1 trillion in federal revenues. That's exactly what I was going to say, but I didn't have time to be able to add this, sadly.
Structure is things like Medicaid, things like free schooling.
Do you think someone's going to leave it?
He says Medicaid, but again, they pay more into those systems, right, than natural-born U.S. citizens because they work to a higher degree.
They're home in Venezuela.
Topic.
What's up?
It would have been great to see you on this topic.
I know. I think I would have done really well. Hayden, thank you so much for the $1.38. Thank you so much. Because and then also he says unsafe, right? There. What I also was going to say is that there's they commit lower levels of crimes. Immigrants and undocumented immigrants commit lower levels of crimes per capita than natural-born U.S. citizens. So it doesn't make sense to say it's unsafe, and it doesn't make sense to say that it's going to bankrupt the nation because there's no evidence indicating either of those facts.
To come here and leech off our Medicaid. These people want to work. These people want to live, man.
Okay, then if they sign a contract saying they don't receive social benefits, they're more than welcome to stay.
Oh. Well, sadly, they would take benefits if they were available to them if they could come out of the shadows, and they would actually pay more taxes and contribute more to society. Let me ask you, if there's
passionate hands, no worries.
If there's an accident, and let's say your wife's in an accident, a car accident, the only person that witnessed it is an undocumented immigrant, they're not coming forward to be a witness, Ben. Doesn't that trouble you?
This is the reason that I should allow millions and millions of illegal immigrants into the country, is on the off chance that they might be a witness?
It's one reason that these people are being treated as second-class citizens, even though they benefit you and I.
Can I ask a question? What is your standard for whether someone should be allowed into the country?
My standard?
Yes.
What do you mean my standard? Like as far as their education or their ability?
Yes. You're creating immigration policy. Who should be allowed into the country?
I think we should allow a wide variety of people. This country,
everyone.
Not everybody starts out as a doctor, Ben. Some people start out doing menial tasks.
So everyone. So you have no limits. How about numbers? Do you have any number limit? No numerical limit.
20,000 people die or retire in this country a day. There's only 10,000 births. We need more people.
I agree. That's why we should all have more babies.
So, okay. Well, guess what? People.
Also, by the way, I was just going to let the chat know, I tried to contact like Ben's assistant. Like I literally talked talk to Ben's assistant, like, and they like came and I got their information. I sent them an email. They didn't respond to me. So I don't know. I tried to get more time to talk to Ben because this was not the place to be able to do it. Seemingly,
aren't going to have them because you're not incentivizing it. Kamala Harris is with her.
Structure in allowing people to have more kids and incentivizing people to have more kids. I wish that government benefits were more effective in doing this. They simply have not been in particular areas of Europe. There's a different argument than the illegal immigration argument. When we're talking about illegal immigration, you seem to be making an argument there ought to be no baseline standard for who gets in and no baseline cap for how many people get in.
I'm not saying that. We can come up with a figure. We can come up with numbers. So I'm not a lawmaker. That's what we elect people to go do and work out those figures. I need Republicans are just fighting everything.
I need some standard.
You need me to come up with a number.
No, okay, a number or a characteristic or some sort of standard for who you would let into the country. Because right now, all I'm hearing is you just want lots of people to come into the country without any standard and any cap on the number.
No, not at all. I want people to come here who want to work, who want to be a part of this country, and we all benefit from that. Okay, do you think you're not benefiting from these undocumented people? Who do you think is going to build the houses that we need with our shortage?
So do you think the people who come into the country should be eligible for all social benefits?
If they're contributing and they're allowed to contribute fully, right now they're not. They're using other people's social security numbers to pay social security tax and Medicare, and they're not able to get those benefits in the long run.
So again, I'm wondering how you're balancing the cost benefit to the American body politic if what you're suggesting is that day one you arrive in the country and now you're eligible for all social benefits.
I'm not saying day one
with no education, low wage labor.
Well, we can work all these details out. You're fighting over the
that's the core of the argument.
Really, you're upset that somebody who comes to this country and works hard and makes your life better and cheaper is going to get Social Security 40 years from now?
No, not Social Security 40 years from now. Medicaid today.
So wouldn't you rather than get Medicaid and get preventative care than go to the hospital where it costs you,
I would prefer
the taxpayer, 10 times more money?
My point, as it has been from the beginning, is that you need screening procedures for immigration.
So you're saying Border Patrol is failing then to screen these people properly? Is that the accusation you're making?
I'm making the case that Border Patrol certainly is failing.
How do you know because you talked to a couple Border Patrol agents? You know, that is so insulting to our Border Patrols fighting every day on the front lines. You think they're not screening these people and they're being bamboozled by some people's claiming asylum and tricking them?
No, because literally today the FBI announced that an Afghan national was let in without vetting and tried to plan a terrorist attack on election day. Oh, it's just one. So
one guy. You know how many terrorists were caught by the border under Trump?
There are over
zero.
There are over three.
At least we're catching them.
There are over three. First of all, it's not true because a huge number of people.
I think he's doing really good with Ben. I think Ben seems a little bit uncomfortable, but I do think Ben is giving like a better response than like 90% of what conservatives do, optically speaking.
Yeah, no, I think Ben is by far like the best Republican.
Yeah, if Charlie were in this circumstance, Charlie would be getting dog walked, like even further than Ben is. And Ben's losing right now. Ben is definitely losing right now. Ben's really just like saying like, okay, where do you draw the line? That's basically what Ben's arguing right now. That's all I've heard.
People, we don't know who they are coming across the border between ports of entry. Second of all, you're talking in this country right now at least 300,000 minors. We have no idea where they are.
That is nonsense. That is nonsense. No, it is. It is. ICE has lost track of them because it's voluntary for them to keep in touch with the system. They are not lost. They're released to their sponsors who have to go through background checks. You have no idea what you're talking about.
They don't.
You think 300,000 minors are lost in America? Are you crazy?
I'm saying that. I'm not saying that. The Department of Justice is saying that.
Next thing you're going to tell me there's 19,000 murderers, right? Is that the next talking point?
No, that is not the next talking point.
Okay.
But you're going to have to explain to me why it is okay for literally tens of thousands of minors to be checked out to majors, to people who are above majority age, and then for the government to not, when I say lose track, I don't mean minors
checked
walking
out
the
to their
streets by themselves.
sponsor who goes through a background check. Is that what you mean?
They do not go through.
How do you know that?
Because they're not checking in.
How
a
do you
huge
know
number of people.
Oh, it's voluntary. Why does our law allow for it to be voluntary?
Okay, so they say that like the IG report made it clear that they ensure the safety of children. I don't know what that's fact checking. That's really weird. And Dean, are you there, bro? Are you okay?
Oh yeah,
if it's not working,
I'm figuring out the thing for the travel this weekend for the boots on the ground voter advocation, and like I have to it's having me like download all these mobile apps. But I'm still listening.
Okay, for sure.
The law should not allow for it to be voluntary. And in fact, in some cases, it is not voluntary. And in fact, human trafficking is going on at scale.
It sounds like you're upset when the problem doesn't exist. What is this problem?
Why are you okay with minors who are being checked out to people of majority age who then don't check in with the government? Is that okay with you?
I'm okay with minors being checked out to their sponsors who go through background checks, who are usually family members, people that know them. You think it's just some random? You think I can go pick up?
I wanted to see what their what's it called, fact check was.
So, and in fact, human trafficking is going on at scale.
It sounds like you're upset when the problem doesn't exist. What is this problem?
Why are you okay with minors who are being checked out to people of majority age who then don't check in with the government? Is that okay with you?
I'm okay with minors being checked out to their sponsors who
Said the Office of Refugee Resettlement places unaccompanied children with sponsors, including those unrelated to them. All sponsors undergo an assessment process, criminal and sex offender checks, and a background check on other adults.
Go through background checks who are usually family members, people that know them. You think it's just some random? You think I can go pick up a undocumented immigrant child right now?
No, but I do know that has happened to tens of thousands of kids in this country.
Really? So you think they're just being released to random people?
They're being released to people who claim that they are relatives, and in many cases they are not necessarily relatives.
How do you know that?
Because they are not checking in for their follow-up appointments.
Oh, because they're not checking in for the voluntary follow-up appointments. So you're assuming the worst. You're assuming they're probably being kidnapped and trafficked.
I'm happy for you that you're assuming the best as to what happens with minor children.
I'm always going to assume the best about my fellow Americans. And of course, if these people are their sponsors and their background checks by these agencies, I'm going to assume the best. Unlike you, that's a weird thing to assume all this weird stuff.
No, actually, what's kind of weird to me is that you assume that anybody who picks up a kid without proper verification background check doesn't check in for months at a time.
Proper verification and background check?
What do you know about the parents? What do you know about the people who are picking them up? What do you know about the cousins?
I've read that these people go through background checks and they are sponsors, usually family members. You don't sound like you read anything about this. You just have some fantasy you made up about me being able to go pick up an undocumented child. Why don't you and I go try to get one later? We'll see what happens.
I have a question. Where are you possibly coming up with that since I've actually said the opposite?
You want me to name the article? You can go Google it yourself. Maybe you'll learn something.
My e-commerce business has been over.
How do y'all like Guy so much? Or so far?
Hey, I actually just had a conservative text me that you did, like a pretty influential conservative, just text me that you did really well against Ben, much better than you did against Charlie. Yeah, from like the conservative perspective.
Yeah, it's probably just because I was nice to him. But I barely even got to talk, dude. I wish I would have been able to speak more. And text me which one.
Are you talking about?
Ben, when you get home, go on Google and type in how are undocumented migrants' children released and what is the process. You'll read all about it.
I can read all about it. And one of the things that I've read is that the immigration services in this country have not done proper follow-up.
Well, you read it on Gateway Pundit? Or
no,
what?
on Wall Street Journal, at the Department of Justice, in all of the legal claims by the federal government. Yes, this is in the New York Times. Okay,
so I just want to make sure we're on the same page. 300,000 children are being exploited in America right now.
That is not the claim.
Okay,
the claim is that the federal government does not know where they are.
Oh,
that is the claim, and that is absolutely valid. Do you know where they are? Do you think the federal government knows where all of them are?
The federal government should be tracking everybody?
I think that the federal government has a responsibility to release children who come across the border only to people for whom there is follow-up available. Yes, and I find it very bizarre that you're totally fine with people signing off on handing over children to people who merely claim to be relatives without any follow-up whatsoever.
Why do you say merely claim? You don't know what that background check is like.
Because usually you should have evidence that is in fact the case.
How do you know it's not?
Why is the assumption that it is?
Your claim is that people are taking out kids like library books and not providing the proper identification and background.
Your lack of concern about what happens to those kids when proper verification and follow-up is not done seems disquieting to me.
Because you guys create fantasy scenarios where things that aren't happening. Are there cases where some children are going to be exploited? Of course. There's tons of people in this country. We're the third largest country in the world.
So what should we do to stop that?
Well, you sound very passionate about this. Maybe you should write your Congress member and say we should tighten up these laws and make it mandatory instead of voluntary.
In order to do that, one of the things you might want to do, close the border.
The border is closed, Ben.
No, it is certainly not.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It is certainly not closed.
Do you think the border was closed under Trump?
No, I don't think it was fully closed under Trump.
Oh, so you say Trump failed at closing the border?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Donald Trump should have done more to close the border.
Back in there if he's going to fail again.
Because he did a better job than Joe Biden, who let in 6.5 million illegal immigrants.
Joe Biden has the exact same border encounters right now as Trump at the end of his administration.
I have a question.
If Trump was on pace to let in 900,000, if that was the case, a year.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Why is it that after a president allows in through pure executive order negligence, having walked back the executive orders that created the policies that you're now praying. I mean, if you want to call it purposeful, call it purposeful. They were on day one. They reneged on Remain in Mexico. They changed the standards by which asylum was claimed.
Mexico's got to play. It takes two to tango.
Wait, they could have done Remain in Mexico day one. This is what I really wanted to say this, because in 2019, it's gonna say
Mexico didn't.
2019 he launched Remain in Mexico. That's an executive order. He could have done that day one. That's the question I was gonna ask. I was like, okay, if you think that it took them too long to uphold the border bill, right? Even if it takes into account Congress, well, then why don't you say the same thing about Donald Trump as it relates to Remain in Mexico? He ran on the border being an issue, and he didn't do it on day one when he could have.
Want anything to do with Remain in Mexico?
Remain in Mexico was the American policy. It was Joe Biden who walked out on Remain in Mexico.
There's also a small number of people. It's like a couple tens of thousands of people.
The unprecedented level of it.
Remain in Mexico was so great. Why wasn't it put in day one?
Immigration is apparently totally.
And why, when it was implemented, were there less people under the Obama administration when Remain in Mexico didn't exist versus after when it was implemented when Remain in Mexico did exist?
Fine with you under Joe Biden.
No, listen, we need more people in this country, Ben. There's no legal means for them to come in that are reasonable. So these people are forced to come in through the southern border because there's no other way.
There are hundreds of thousands of people who come into this country every. You're making a case for broadening legal immigration,
yes,
but you are not setting standard. You've suggested you're utterly fine with what happens to minors if they are released to adults without proper evidence.
I have not.
You have not suggested that there is no major problem with exploitation of children being trafficked over the border.
I'll go with Trump's number, 1 million a year, because that's what he was on pace for.
This is where I wanted to hop in. Oh!
All the ads, bro. They always get taken down. Yeah, guy's phenomenal.
And then they didn't let... See, you see how only half of the side is going? You see how only half of this side is going? Dean and I were on the same side, so we couldn't, like, at the same time go. It was really sad. We should have put one on this side, one on the other side. Honestly.
I know. And it's like, I asked her to sit us together before we knew that, but she knew that. And then she's like, was like, okay, yeah, sit together.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Terror to meet you.
Let me see. Okay, that's the Israel Hamas war. I think we can go to like, I got like 58 seconds at the end here.
To my next question.
Name a war that isn't a genocide by your definition.
I got 58 seconds, chat. 58 seconds. I got to ask him one question, and we didn't even have dialogue on it, okay?
Well, we're going to solve the Middle East in 56 seconds. Go for it.
Definitely not. My question is, if this were in the context of the United States, if everything were the same conditions of what you see to be terrorism, what you see to be from the Israel side, but it happened in the United States and the innocent civilians that died were United States citizens, would you see the same thing to be justified?
So let's say that the United States had launched an attack across the Mexican border, specifically targeting civilians, slaughtering 1,200 of them, taking 250 hostage. And then the Mexican government had retaliated by attempting to solely target military targets, and our military men and women were hiding behind civilians. That would be the comparable condition.
Yeah, so U.S. citizens would be killed in hospitals and other things.
I would not blame the Mexican government for. I would not blame the Mexican government for targeting the personnel who were responsible for the kidnappings and murder.
Asking, do you see it to be ethically justified for them to kill innocent Americans at the same degree that they killed innocent Palestinians?
Again, the question of killing civilians is a question about who's hiding behind the civilians. Israel's not going out of its way to kill civilians.
That's not an answer to the question.
Yes, it is, because you're mischaracterizing the actual situation on the ground.
How?
Because of what I just described.
I said the same conditions.
We didn't solve it.
That's it. That's literally it, chat. That's all I got in the episode. That's fucking it. That's all they kept in of me in the episode. That's all I got to say. The entire fucking time. That's it.
Bullshit, bro.
Okay, that is it. Now we can well, actually at the end I can check, but we have like one thing of me speaking at the end, and then on the other one I have this is me talking to him at a longer bit that they put on the fucking second account that has 9,000 views on YouTube. By the way, if you haven't liked my comment yet, make sure to like that comment right here, everyone. Yeah. But we're gonna watch that last part. He said okay, what I don't understand is he said I mischaracterized it, but I said the same conditions. I literally said the same conditions, and he said I mischaracterized it. I was like, what are you talking about, dude? He also, what he has to say in this circumstance is he has to say, yeah, 20,000 innocent civilians that are American citizens, it would be justified to slaughter them. That's what he has to say.
See what it's like.
Somewhat irritating when people decide to take advantage of a time to have a discussion or an argument to simply rant for minutes on end. But again, person's entitled to their feelings.
If I can name one person from the circle that I thought did phenomenal, it would be Guy. I would say Guy was probably the MVP today.
Guy did a really good job on the border, exposing how there's a lot of lies from the Republican side about the bipartisan border bill.
I have never seen a performance like that. I personally learned a lot, and I bet a lot of people at home did too.
There was a fellow who gave some interesting arguments about
Parker's comment. I looked earlier and I couldn't find it either. It's not on this video. It's on the Twoobly one. I'm talking about the Twoobly one. That's it.
allow it.
I actually was a bit surprised to hear him say one of those talking points that I mentioned, the 300,000 kids have disappeared. I thought he was a little above that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Tyler did a really good job as well, especially when he sort of held Ben's feet to the fire on the issue of January 6th.
It is indefensible, and it's anti-democratic and anti-American values. And it's the one weakness I think Ben Shapiro knows he has.
Bro is literally from Canada, by the way, and he kind of did pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. We're not gonna watch it right now, but I would watch that part. He actually did pretty decent.
To the reason that people are supporting Kamala Harris has almost nothing to do with Kamala Harris and simply to do with animus for Donald Trump on a personal level.
I am proudly voting for Kamala Harris. I think it's a no-brainer to make sure that the guy who has no interest in maintaining our democracy gets back in the White House.
Kamala Harris has a better economic plan, better border plan, pretty much across the board. I think she's a better candidate.
If Donald Trump is elected, the average American will be worse off, and if she's elected, they will be better off. I care about closing those income inequities. Nothing is more American than that.
The question that I would ask you folks is, in the end, one of these people is going to be shaping policy. Do you like the policies that you've had for the last 4 years or not?
So back.
Dude. I'm sorry, that was just kind of funny, dude.
I'm excited to watch yours now.
How do you feel about
I haven't watched it yet, by the way.
Trump saying that he wants to terminate all articles found in the Constitution?
I mean, to what comment are you specifically referring?
Like his tweet on Twitter.
I mean, show of hands. Who takes everything that Donald Trump says seriously in this room? If you take everything that Donald Trump says absolutely literally, you might need to see a psychiatrist.
And if taking him literally means you might need a psychiatrist, then what does it mean for you to vote for him, by the way?
Wait, also, he conflated there. He said, who takes him seriously? Everyone should take a nominee for the presidency seriously. Every single word that comes out of their mouth. And then he changed it to literally.
It's like American Gladiator over here. Hey, how's it going? Hey, good to meet you.
Did y'all see how I ran to it? I'm sorry, we gotta go back. You gotta see how I ran to the...
It's like American...
Dude.
Gladiator over here. Hey, how's it going? Hey, good to meet you.
Yeah, so how do you feel about Donald Trump saying that he wants to terminate all articles found in the Constitution?
I mean, to what comment are you specifically referring?
Like his tweet on Twitter.
Well, no, his tweet on Twitter actually suggested that he believes that, quote unquote, the election was stolen, a proposition with which I disagree. And he says that...
It said even, wait, they literally, dude,
articles found
hold
in the
up.
Constitution.
I mean, to what comment are you specifically referring?
Like his tweet on Twitter.
Well,
Look how they
his
fact
tweet
checked
on
this
Twitter
game.
actually suggested...
They said on December 3rd, 2022, Trump wrote on True Social that the alleged fraud in 2020 election could justify terminating rules, regulations, and even parts of the Constitution. When he said all rules, regulations, and articles in the Constitution. Bro, Crazy, dude.
That he believes that, quote unquote, the election was stolen, a proposition with which I disagree. And he says that if that's true, then effectively the Constitution has already been nullified.
After facing backlash, he later clarified what I said. There is massive and widespread fraud and deception has been proven in the 2020 election. Steps must immediately be taken right the wrong. Okay.
That's not the same thing as saying he wants to obliterate all articles of the Constitution. I would also say that many of the things that Donald Trump says, I mean, show of hands, who takes everything that Donald Trump says seriously in this room? Really? All of you guys take everything he says seriously? He was indeed the president, and I would also recommend that if you take everything that Donald Trump says absolutely literally, you might need to see a psychiatrist. Donald Trump does not take even Donald Trump does not take everything he says seriously. There's no, in any case, go ahead.
Does he believe he won the 2020 election?
I think he does believe that he won the 2020 election.
So then it would be, under his view, it is true. Therefore, it is the case that he does want to terminate the articles found in the Constitution. So
whether or not he wants to terminate, he does not have the capacity to do so. One of the things that when we talk about dangers to the institutions that are public is not just an intent issue. So what I've talked about with regard to President Trump is that many of the things that President Trump has done are kind of dumb ways of trying to violate the articles of the Constitution, for example, and they tend to be struck down by the courts or nullified by, for example, the Senate of the United States.
By the way, he's arguing that just because you can't do it means it's not a threat. So one, this means that Kamala Harris wanted to take everyone's guns away, right? Even if she wanted to do that, which isn't true, she doesn't want to do that, right? That wouldn't be a threat, right? If she wants to remove every single person's free speech, that wouldn't be a threat. Wanting to steal the election wouldn't be a threat. Wanting anyone advocating to terminate the Constitution wouldn't be a threat. This notion of what a threat is an insanely absurd, ridiculous notion of threat. And also, he even, you can watch, he gives examples that are even compatible with saying that doesn't make sense. But
which certified the vote, for example, in 2020. What the Biden administration has done, what Kamala Harris does, is expand the scope of executive power in unprecedented and much more subtle ways that threaten the viability of those institutions. So, for example, using OSHA in order to cram down a vaccine mandate on 80 million Americans, for example. Or
one thing they didn't say about the OSHA mandate as well, which actually Adam says later on, is that that was determined unconstitutional.
When Kamala Harris talks about how she wants to get rid of the filibuster and thus stack the Supreme Court with a series of justices or increase the number of justices on the Supreme Court, which is an actual thing that she could do. The Republicans in the Senate, for example, have not said that they wish to get rid of the filibuster. Those are the kinds of threats to the institutions that I find significantly more credible than Donald Trump tweeting that he would like to make himself whatever he would like to make himself.
So wanting to terminate the Constitution, sending false slates of electors to Electoral College to cast Trump votes in 7 key states, even though he didn't win the election, those things aren't a threat to the public institutions that we have, especially when he gets a vice president that said he wouldn't have certified the election results?
I don't think they're a threat to the established institutions of the republic, specifically because those institutions work. It's when you start to thwart the actual internal workings of the institutions that you have a serious danger. I disagree with many of the things that Trump has done and said on these particular matters. And if effectuated, that would be a real problem. I just don't think there's much threat of that actually taking place. I mean, he did leave office when he was supposed to leave office, despite all of the insanity that took place between November and January in the last election cycle.
Yeah, so how does the OSHA mandate threaten our public institutions, but not the ones like, say, the abortion bans in certain states that restrict women's access to abortion, even instances where they've been assaulted?
I mean, that's not a threat to the public institutions, but we're going to get to abortion later and we can disagree with the policy. That's not a threat to the fundamental working of the institution itself. OSHA was designed to protect occupational safety and health. It was not designed in order to cram down vaccines on 80 million Americans in a way that has nothing to do with its original mandate under the actual OSHA Act that established it in the first place.
Wait, so but how does one threaten the public institutions, but the other one doesn't?
Because the role of a public institution is defined by Congress. Once you start to move beyond the role of that public institution without any sort of permission from Congress, that threatens the checks and balances as to how government works.
Did he get permission from Congress to send false slates of electors to Electoral College?
No.
So I don't think he answered the question there of like how one is a breach on one's autonomy that threatens the public institutions, but the other one doesn't. I don't think he said that. And also, one thing I didn't mention that I should have mentioned is that it determined it as like unconstitutional. So, and like checks and balances uphold it. Like, okay, so then he's just arguing any threat to the checks and balances isn't a real threat because the checks and balances are in place.
which is why they were rejected by Congress.
Okay, but they were rejected because of it not having sufficient basis to overturn the election, him not having sufficient basis to say that he won.
Correct.
Especially
Trying and
because
failing.
he was trying to send people to the Capitol specifically to get them to pause the proceedings, specifically to certify the election results.
Well, he said peacefully protest outside the Capitol, and we can get into
he said fight like hell. He sent the people there.
Fight like hell.
I'm not saying he was trying to get them to be violent. What I'm saying is it was to pause the proceedings specifically of certifying election results. So you can't tell me that it's not a threat to our public institutions from specifically to try to limit them from certifying the election results, and for him to try to get his vice president to not certify the election results, and to put himself over the Constitution by saying we should terminate the Constitution, like the articles found in the Constitution.
Okay, but the public institutions actually worked. The checks and balances worked. He tried many things, as you stated, and
Wait,
all of them were stopped.
But that's a threat to them, correct?
I mean, he was threatening to do things that were not, that were then held back by the institutions. This is sort of my point. I'm not saying that President Trump has the best of intent with regard to all the institutions of the United States. What I'm saying is those institutions continue to properly function under him in a way that they would not under Kamala Harris or have under Joe Biden.
Yeah, so how does that not threaten the institutions to try to undermine our American democracy and get tens of millions of people to believe that the election was stolen when you agree with me, there's no sufficient evidence to indicate that?
Because a foolish attempt to say bad things about the institutions not fundamentally threaten the veracity of an institution nearly as much as undermining the actual working functionality of the institution, which has happened under the great expansion of institutional power in the executive branch, particularly under the Biden administration, and then the attempts to get rid of the filibuster, to stack the Supreme Court, to add states to the United States Senate by adding D.C. and Puerto Rico, for example, and adding 4 permanent Democratic senators, and thus upend the balance that was drawn by the framers. These sorts of things, I think, have more permanent, lasting ramifications than Donald Trump ranting and raving on Twitter and then achieving nothing in terms of the actual institutional damage.
So he could literally say that he wants to steal the next election, and you would say that that's not a threat to our institutions publicly?
I could say that I think that the things that he says about wanting to do things are generally not a threat.
Wait, so that's not a threat to our public institutions?
Yes, I think a verbal threat to do things is not the same thing.
Wait, what is he saying? He said it was a verbal threat. He said it was a verbal threat.
You kind of mocked him, bro. I'm not going to lie. You're fucking eating.
Bro, he said it was a verbal threat. I didn't even catch that. Oh my God. He said it was a threat.
An active, I think we ought to define threat here. When I say a threat to the public,
he literally said verbal threat.
Institutions, I mean a threat that is going to fundamentally undermine the institutions, not saying shit.
He used threat in the definition too.
What a dummy, dude.
What about
Donald Trump says lots and lots of shit. In fact, it might be the epitaph on his gravestone, is Donald Trump, 45th president of the United States, said a lot of shit.
But you agree with me, he destroys the social fabric of this nation.
That's great.
Yeah, what are y'all thoughts? I don't know. I wish I had more time to speak. I feel like I didn't have enough time to speak. I really wanted to keep going.
I thought that you did good, man.
Dude, I didn't even catch that he literally called it a threat. That was crazy. I should have recorded
10
that.
out of 10.
I should have recorded that. Fuck.
Wait, you can get it through the VOD.
And try and post that later. Well, I guess I could. I guess I could get the VOD.
I'm like dying over here trying to freaking figure this out.
And is that all? Adam kind of cooked it. I feel so bad for Adam because he went so much further. Yeah, and he got destroyed. He destroyed Ben, and he got put in the second video. Like, that's crazy.
Adam did do good. Yeah. How many views is it sitting at?
Someone said, "I'm glad Parker didn't show up." It has 11K likes. And someone literally has 700 likes saying Parker got scared this time. What? I don't see anything else here. Yeah, what are you like? That was literally it, dude. I'm so sad. People said this should have been on the main channel. Why isn't this on the main channel? Why isn't this on the main channel?
Yeah, a lot of people were like that because it was like that was some of the best content. Yeah, L editors. Can we just get some L editors?
I think it's
back
kind
in
of
the
crazy
chat?
that he said that it wasn't a threat to our public institutions for Trump saying he wants to steal the next election. That's pretty crazy.
Can we just get some L editors down below, y'all? Because
Someone said I
that
got
is, like,
smoked. 42.
That is
Ben
completely and
cooked
totally
Parker.
the editors.
Bro, I feel like literally even when I am nice, even when I'm nice, they still don't care. They still don't care. Yeah, by the way, you can try to find my comment, everyone. You might have to like search it up or something. I don't know. It's like for some reason you can't find my comment. Like, does anyone know why that is? It's from 2 hours ago. It's pretty near the beginning. We go to oldest, and you could just scroll down a little bit. Megan, thank you so much for the $1. It is only JS in the back. Justin, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you so much.
I talked
Morgan,
to her
thank you
for
for
a
the
little
$2. Sarah, thank you for the $1. And Morgan, again, thank you for the $1.
I talked to Only JS for a little bit, and I asked her about like a lot of the things I'd heard about her, like stealing creators' content and stuff. Because I was very curious.
What
I was
did they
very
say?
curious. I was very curious. That they didn't, of course, but I don't know. I just talked to him about it for a bit. I was just really curious. Oh, you thought that? Oh, my apologies for misgendering Only JS. According to the chat, they are non-binary. My apologies.
It's at 688,000 views, which means it's blowing up. Devin, thank you so much for the $1. I appreciate it. Are y'all debating after the video? Yes, I will be debating. I will be doing it. Yeah, I mean that's all there is to respond to actually. Like,
Yeah, I'll probably do debates for a little. It's like 3.
You're gonna still do debates. I probably what I should probably set up this iPad and try my iPad, huh?
Yeah. By the way, I just wanted to repeat this for those that are curious. Once again, I will not be streaming tomorrow. I will not be streaming Saturday or Sunday.
Tomorrow I'm going to be streaming
have,
late, by the way, everyone.
Yeah, so I'm going to have 3 days when I'm not streaming. The reason why I will not be live is because I will be boots on the ground getting people to vote in Michigan. So that'll be super duper awesome. Really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that. I got an invite.
And by the way, everyone, follow this account if you have not already. Matt's pretty close to 50K, y'all.
For real. Yeah, so I'll be in Michigan. I think I'm pretty comfortable with sharing like that because I think I'll be safe. I'll be in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Feel free to find me if you want.
Oh no, I ripped this.
Feel free to find me if you're in the area. I'll probably post more about it on my Discord and my Instagram. I'll be in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Make some videos? I will be. I will be. I'm actually looking for the itinerary right now so I could tell you all a little more. So much going on.
Okay. All right. Let's set up this iPad, everyone. I'll set up the iPad.
Will there be a video in Ann Arbor? Yeah. At U of M? Yeah, I actually think I'll be at U of M a lot.
Whoa, dude. I feel like this iPad isn't as cool as mine.
Is anyone in here like go to U of M?
Wait, no way. That's interesting. I probably should have looked at all this before.
Yeah, if any of you guys want to meet me, I'll be at U of M. Let's see when. Looks like I'll be there for tailgate on Saturday.
Hopefully I can get everything set up. All right, everyone. I'm setting up this iPad. Hopefully this works. If it doesn't work, I'm going to take it back. Thomas, thank you so much for You're the New Liberal, Ben Shapiro. I talked slow in this one, so I hope people could understand it this time. Continue. Set up for myself. Face ID. Rotate to landscape. Oh my god, I just realized this. The camera is on the side of the iPad. What?
What? Wait, show me?
Dude, hold up. I'll have to show you in a second.
There's no way it doesn't have a front-facing camera.
No, there's a front-facing camera, but it's on the side.
Oh, it's like
So it's like
on the
this.
side of the top?
It's like right up here.
Oh. No, there's no way. There also has to be a top camera. There or is there just one?
I don't see it. I don't see it.
Is there just one like that?
Oh no.
Chat, for the people in the chat that have the same iPad, is there just like one like that? Yeah. No, it's on the side now. Wow.
It is weird.
It's okay to wait. Apple is smart. Apple is smart. I bet that if you have your iPad in the vertical direction, that they will adjust the camera to that.
What do you mean?
I bet like you could still use it in the right direction. The camera will just be off to the side, and the camera will like track onto you, and it'll still work vertically.
I'll try it.
I just have a feeling.
Anything? Yeah, I don't need anything on that.
That'd also make it so you could use it sooner. I just have
And
a
should I
feeling
use
that
a
that's
different
what it'll
Apple
do.
ID?
I'd use your same Apple ID. But honestly, you don't even need to do that right now. Like you could just sign into that barebone, download TikTok, and go. You know.
All right, sorry everyone. I'm just filling all this stuff out.